Building a strong employee experience and loyalty becomes a serious challenge for organizations of all sizes. Introducing Betterteem, a data-driven employee experience platform that allows organizations to drive performance and scale employee engagement one employee at a time. Betterteem enables businesses to shift from static employee engagement to dynamic revenue-generating employee performance. Betterteem arms businesses and HR professionals with real-time and insightful employee analytics so they'll be able to make impactful decisions instantly. Try Betterteem today.
Hello and welcome. My name is Bo and I am the founder and CEO of Betterteem. We put this talk together to bring you some of the thought leaders in HR and operations to talk about the latest trends on managing the workforce during this very challenging time. I will go rapid fire through my intro because I know you'd rather want to hear from our panelists here today, but I would be remiss without sharing a little bit about Betterteem, why we're here and what we aim to do. So for those viewers who just joined, welcome. We're so excited to have you this afternoon. Betterteem is an employee experience platform for the BPO sector. Everything we do is about improving employee experience, from employee sentiments analytics to streamlining rewards and recognition and making mental health support available on demand. We let companies use our AI-driven analytics so they can collect candid and effective feedback and eventually understand the needs of their employees better. We are so proud of our highly differentiated user experience that makes employees be at their best and their organization the best place to work. You can learn more about us at www.betterteam.com. All right, so joining with me in this virtual chat are Joyce Peñalosa and Tonichi Achura-Parek. Joyce is an experienced global leader in human resources with demonstrated capability working in global and multi-geographical environments. Joyce has handled HR roles both in the strategic and operational aspects of HR across different industries. And alongside with Joyce is Tonichi, an experienced operations executive with a demonstrated history of working in the outsourcing and offshoring industry. Tonichi is currently the country manager and regional vice president for Asia Pacific at Nearsol, a BPO company in Pasig, and an elected member of the board of directors of the Call Center Association of the Philippines. All right, well, ladies, how are you? And thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon. It's so nice to see you, and Joyce, nice to see you again.
This
Same
is going to
here.
be
Nice to see you, Tunichi and Bo. Hello.
hello, everyone. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for spending this afternoon with us. We're going to have a very highly anticipated conversation, I must say. We're going to talk about championing empathy in the now of work. Perhaps it'll be a good idea to begin by defining what empathy in the workplace is all about. You see, I always wonder if there's a difference between empathy in the context of the workplace and empathy in social psychology, where it was defined that it is about imagining oneself in that other person's situation. So I want to begin with Joyce. What is your interpretation or what's your insights around empathy in the workplace? Is this different from the definition in psychology?
So, empathy is a core life skill. All the sociology books, psychology books would tell you that empathy is a core life skill where, if you define it, it essentially means that it has two main components of cognitive empathy, which means that your ability to recognize other people's perspective that's different from yours and to suspend judgment. And the other main element is emotional empathy, which says essentially that you have the ability to recognize other people's feelings, understand those feelings, and communicate them. So, since it is a core life skill, whether you're in the personal setting or you're in the workplace, it shouldn't be different. Where the workplace is made up of humans, so it is very much applicable, in my view, also in the workplace.
So there's not much a difference between the empathy in the workplace and the empathy in the psychology environment. It is pretty much just the same. Imagining yourself in that other person's situation. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to go to Tunichi. Tunichi, what's your take on that? Maybe putting your operations hat on, um, and then defining empathy in terms of operating a business.
You know, it's so nice to hear Joyce. It's she spoken like a true HR executive, right? Um, but yeah, in operations, I don't see how it's going to be any different. I guess really it's the practical side of things, and it's being able to apply everything that Joyce has mentioned. But really, what differentiates is probably, you know, the kind of audience that you're talking to, that you're empathizing with, the conditions in which they are operating in, and the kind of decisions that they have to make, right?
Yeah, I remember when I used to take calls in the call center industry in the BPO sector. I will always be, told by my supervisor that, hey, you gotta have to empathize to your customers. Make sure that, you provide them the right acknowledgement so they would feel that you understand them. So I want to make a follow-up question on that, Tunichi. Why does it matter for us to understand the needs of other? I know that on a customer service standpoint, but on an operation standpoint, I wanted to know, why does it matter? Why does it matter for leaders, for people managers to understand the needs of their employees?
Well, first of all, there's a need for us to have the ability to understand. So, an understanding is different from feeling, right? Understanding where they are coming from is different from feeling where they are coming from. And the manner by which you approach your actions, your strategies, or the decisions that you will make that is related to them will be dependent upon how much you understand and how much you can feel for their situations. So I think so. The reason why it's really important is because, you know, that will, I don't want to say that it's going to influence, you know, at your decisions at the end of the day, but the manner, again, by the manner by which you communicate, the approach that you're going to take may be a little bit different because of the kind of um, scenario that you are faced with.
Okay, I like that differentiating the understanding of empathy and making it different from sympathy. So I want to get the thoughts of Joyce around that because it's a common confusion right now that they mistakenly define sympathy and empathy, and I know that these are two different things. So I wanted to get your thoughts, Joyce, on these two things. How do you differentiate sympathy and empathy? Are there any specific parameters that you have to touch on to say that okay, you are actually empathizing and you are actually sympathizing?
Yep. Definitely, those are two very different things, empathy and sympathy. Empathy is based on what we've already defined a while ago, right? It is about the perspective of others. You are putting yourself in another person's shoes, perspective, understanding that person's perspective. Sympathy is looking at it from your perspective, right? So those are two
Hmm.
very different thoughts, two very different behaviors, two very different emotions. And actually, there was a very recent book that I read about this, that the way they've distinguished empathy versus sympathy is that empathy connects you with other people because of how we've defined it, versus sympathy where it's actually disconnecting you from other people because it is really more inward, right? Just being thinking of yourself.
Hmm. And by getting that differentiation between the two from you, Joyce, correct me. Now, it appears to me that empathy in the workplace is often more productive and supportive, and sympathy is the otherwise. Am I getting it correctly?
Yes, you can look at it that way, right? You can look at it that way because if we connect empathy with the workplace, and why does it matter? Why should we be talking about empathy in the workplace? Essentially, when you have empathy, When you demonstrate empathy, you also become a better leader, you become a better peer or colleague, you become a better manager, you become a better employee
Mm-hmm.
because you are able to connect better with others. And that's why it matters because if, as a leader, for example, if you have empathy and you demonstrate empathy, you tend to make better decisions. I
Mm-hmm.
can say that personally as well. You also tend to be a better communicator
Mm-hmm.
when you're about to, when you coach people, when you even speak in front of an audience, a big group or a small group or one to one, you become more effective in communicating when you have empathy. That's why it absolutely matters.
Gotcha. So, Tonichi, Joyce pointed out a lot of things around empathy and how it can affect team dynamics. Like she pointed out that empathy will create that strong connection between a manager and a direct report that will eventually translate into good performance. That being said, I think the three of us can fully understand the value of having having empathy in the workplace. So my question is, why aren't we seeing people managers being more empathetic at work? Given that we knew that this is something that's going to deliver performance, this is something that's going to drive employee experience. Yet, a lot of people managers are not practicing it. What's your thoughts on that?
It is sad if that's the case. It's sad if the case is that there aren't too many people who are practicing it in the workplace. Joyce mentioned it. It's a core life skill. In that respect, I would say for me, when I'm looking for folks to promote, folks that I will develop, I'm looking for, that's a core skill, core
Hmm.
leadership skill that I'm looking for as well. So I think it you don't learn that overnight. It's you build that over time, you build that over experience. Even your experience, even being fully experienced, doesn't mean you will be very empathetic. It's a matter of being able to express how you're able to empathize and communicate that empathy, right? So all of those things come together, they play a part in each other, and how you're going to eventually express that kind of empathy will make a difference.
Gotcha. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that choice. We are seeing some challenges in getting our people managers practice empathy. And I'm talking about because leadership are really good in displaying empathy. Um, but unfortunately, if you're going to go down to our frontline people, and I'm talking about in the BPO world, these are our agents. Um, some of our supervisors would not practice empathy. What do you think are the reason behind it? Wanted to get your thoughts on that, choice.
So actually, it's very interesting. It's a very good question because not just in terms of research, but also how I've seen it play out in the workplace, regardless of industry. The common reasons why there is a disconnect or there is a perceived lack of empathy in different parts of the organization or levels in the organization. Number one, um, and it goes back to what Tunichi said a while ago around it's different when you feel empathetic, where you have empathy cognitively, versus you demonstrate empathy, right? So it's a process, right? And
Hmm.
unfortunately, and this is not just in the workplace, but in general, sometimes we just stop with feeling empathetic, or we just stop with, okay, I understand, I get it. And it doesn't get demonstrated, it doesn't get felt by the other person. And we see that in the workplace. Leaders are very busy. And they see this sometimes in senior leaders. So when you talk about supervisors, you know what? I have seen even in the highest levels in the organization, some many times leaders would say, let's understand, let's be empathetic. They would verbally espouse empathy,
Yeah.
but their behavior does not connect with empathy. So the empathetic behaviors are not seen by the next level leaders, by the employees. So you cannot expect that to trickle down consistently across the organization. So that's one that I've seen. Another common uh, reason that I've seen is around consistency. So sometimes you see the leaders demonstrate empathy, sometimes they don't demonstrate empathy. And that is a very strong message. That is a conflicting message, both to the next level leaders down to the other parts of the organization. And the third thing that I've seen a common reason is, unfortunately, sometimes it's not recognized or incentivized or promoted or appreciated when you show empathy. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's the non-empathetic behavior that employees see as being promoted or as being recognized, and that of course impacts the subconsciously and consciously the behavior of the employees towards one another and the behavior of the line managers
Mhm.
in their teams.
Those are
You know
good
what,
points.
Joe?
Yeah,
Sorry, I
Yatinichi.
was just going to add, because everything that Joyce is saying is an eye opener as well for me. And some of these things, we know about it, but when we don't talk about it enough, you kind of lose it in your mind. So the more she talks about it, you think sometimes our middle managers are too task oriented, right? They're too task oriented that they feel like they're too busy. They don't have the time to even express empathy, diba?
Hmm.
And shame on us too, as leaders. Even I coach myself to take a step back, breathe, and then think through it, because sometimes we assume that what we
Hmm.
said expresses empathy, but that
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily is the case, right? And especially at our middle manager level, where their tasks are, very their day is very task oriented. They have a lot of things that they need to check, and so they, even if they are empathetic, because they're in a rush, they miss out on actually taking a step back, pausing, and saying, expressing how much they empathize towards somebody else.
Mm.
I
Excellent.
got you.
That's an
Yeah.
excellent illustration, Tenichi. Excellent, because that's what we were talking about in terms of feeling it, thinking it, behaving. Right,
Yes.
those are, it's like it's a process, right? It doesn't mean that I feel empathetic that it will naturally flow. It's the same in our
Hmm.
personal relationships. I mean,
Hmm.
even
Yes.
in our personal relationships, sometimes when there are conflicts between our family members or our life partners, sometimes we think, how can he or she say that when this is how I'm feeling? But actually
Hmm.
it's because of the lack of empathy.
Hmm.
Yes.
Gotcha. So what I'm getting out of this conversation is that our managers are fully aware about the value of empathy actually. It is just that they might not be, they are probably not, they, they are executing it. They thought they are being empathetic, but the truth is they are not being one. And most of the time, the hindrance in being an empathetic leader are, being too focused on the numbers that they have to drive, being too goal oriented. And to take Tonichi's insight, sometimes we have to step back and look at our approach in dealing with our people and ask ourselves if we are actually being empathetic. So that's what I'm getting here. So that being said, we knew that there are challenges in being empathetic at work and driving empathy in amongst our people. So as an executive, as a leader in an executive level, how do you encourage empathy in your organization while you hold people accountable? I want to begin with Joyce on that, on an HR
Mm.
standpoint.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just because I'm in HR. I mean, I am also a business owner. I am also a people manager, right? A people leader. I think it first has to start with acknowledging and being real that, hey, we're dealing with humans. It's the first thing. A leader is also human. An employee is also human. We are all humans. And because we are human, we cannot take that for granted. And in fact, once we acknowledge that, we recognize that, we are able to use that, to utilize that in order for us to be a better leader, a better friend, a better person, actually, if you think about it, right? So now on the operational practical side, right? When we're in the workplace, there are, well, first of all, it really has to start there, right? Number one, hey, you're dealing with people. You have to understand that if you're a people manager, you're dealing with people. Number one. Number two, also being self-aware about how you are impacting your team, whether you like it or not. What you say, what you don't say, impact them. So being self-aware, Tunishi said that, right? Taking a step back,
Mhm.
being self-aware is very important, which is why one of the behaviors actually of highly empathetic people, highly empathetic people listen actively. And what does listening do in a conversation? It
Mhm.
allows the person to pause, right? It allows that person to take a step back because it may not be natural for all of us to be empathetic. But empathy can be learned, right? Research says 98% of humans can learn empathy. That should make us feel good. It's meant to keep, that is meant to be an optimistic statistic. So it means that for us, when we talk to our line managers, there are certain habits, certain practices that are small but can actually or may actually make a difference.
Mhm.
Asking questions, taking a pause so that you can listen, observe. Don't just listen verbally, listen non verbally too, right? And then if you're very task oriented, and I've worked with many, many executives who are extremely task oriented, and this is so interesting. And I don't know if this will be found as helpful by some very task-oriented executives. I worked very recently with a extremely brilliant executive, but extremely task-oriented. But he also understands. He has cognitive empathy. He understands he needs it. So what does he do? He tricks his brain. So he uses his calendar. He uses his notes to give himself signals. Even in his notes, he would say, ask a question, pause, ask this, pause, count 1 to 10. I know that sounds silly, maybe, but I can tell you all of us need to find a way. It's a coping mechanism. We all need to find our own coping mechanisms in order for us to learn empathy. And it will be different from one person to another. So as an executive coaching other people managers or other business leaders, know yourself first. Self-awareness.
Mhm.
Know yourself
Yeah.
first. What works for me? Okay, I'm more task oriented. I'm more relationship oriented. Based on that, draft your coping mechanisms, and then
Yeah.
before you know it, you become natural about it. I've worked with the executive that I was talking to you about. In the beginning, it was very difficult for him, but after 6 months, and you develop a habit, right? After 6 months of doing it, it became so natural that the new hires after that, when they describe him, it's very, very different from how his very much tenured managers describe
Mhm.
him. So that's what I would say to that.
So being an empathetic leader can be a challenging. That's what I'm getting from you, Joyce, because not everyone can, have that kind of skill at the onset. But the good thing about it, as you pointed out, it is something that you can learn. You mentioned something about 98%, and that's very good. Um, Another thing that I'm taking from that insight is that you just have to be, you have to practice self-awareness, just like what Tunichi pointed out. It's okay na at this point you're not an empathetic leader, but what important is that you knew that it is something that you have to develop. And then you have to come up with strategies or maybe some plans so you can develop it further as a leader. Because again, pointing out, going back to our first discussion, empathy is a skill needed in developing people, in managing people. So I like that insight. Now I want to go to the operation side, and I wanted to get the insights of Tunichi in driving performance um, during this very challenging time. So during a pandemic, employees might not be as productive due to due to crisis-induced circumstances. What are your thoughts on the role of empathy in driving performance, or is this even a driver of your business performance at all?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, as an operator, I really wasn't a believer of working from home. As an operator, and maybe, the folks that you have worked with, who worked with me in the past, will tell you that if you ask Tonichi, can I work from home? And I'll say, are you from operations? You're not going to work from home. Definitely not. You are where your people are, right? So that's one thing that this pandemic taught me, was to cope, to understand and to learn how to actually lead from the home or from anywhere, right? And that was a difficult thing. Going through that entire process was a challenge, especially for folks who are not believers, so like me. So I had to learn how to get clues, understand what the body language is from afar when you're coaching somebody, understanding what environment they're projecting and what the reality is, right? Because they can project, I'm projecting a peaceful environment here, rightfully so, because we're having a conversation. But what you don't know is that my kids are running around and they're driving me crazy downstairs, right? So there's the reality. You have to understand the reality by which they are thriving in, or that they are living in, right? And what are the opportunities are within those realities. So it is important. It is important to empathize with those kinds of realities that they are faced with. And so, how do
Mhm.
you drive that then? Acknowledge. You have to acknowledge that this is, for some it's easy. Some folks, they are built. They are their homes are built for working from home. They have a
Mhm.
space on their for themselves, and but that's not the case for a lot of people. And you have to understand. That's why it's important to be able to communicate with your team, right? To
Mhm.
understand what are their realities, what are their challenges, what is their environment looking like, and then you have to go from there. What are
Mhm.
their motivations? Are they motivated to actually work from home? And if not, what options can you give them?
Mhm.
Right? Is there willingness from that person to try those options? And if not, then what do you do? So you have to come from a place where understanding where they're coming from and their realities. It's now it's no longer just where they're coming from, right? They're
Mhm.
coming from one place, but their reality is different. And you
Mhm.
need to deal with that. And having to deal with that is an entirely different ballgame. But you need to have understand all of that so you can drive, understand what motivates them to keep on going, to keep on performing, what will make them enjoy what they're doing, right? So again, I during this entire time, I was self-aware, and I had to keep telling everybody that I could not project, perfection, because I was already telling people, you know what, I wasn't a believer. This is
Mhm.
difficult for me. Managing people from a distance is difficult for me. I'm a believer of, walking the floor, talking to everybody,
Yep.
management by walking around, right? Chit chatting once in a while, establishing connections. How do you do that
Yep.
now? Right? But you lead by example. You try, and you learn. You
Mhm.
learn, right?
So striking the balance between performance and empathy is definitely possible. It will be a challenge for sure, as you mentioned, but it is possible so long as, again, we're going back to self-awareness. I think that's the magic word for this conversation, being
Yeah.
self-aware about the things that you have to improve on. Do you have any thoughts on that, choice that you want to share?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I completely agree, especially now that whether we like it or not, regardless of industry, there will be some form of hybrid work that will stay, right? It's we've been proven, the world has been proven that that this is the new normal. That there isn't
Mhm.
going back to before. This is the new normal. Now, what does that mean from a people perspective? It means that we need to be able to um, engage differently, connect differently. Tunichi was providing a lot of the practical implications of what the world of work has come. And empathy plays an even more important role, because
Hmm.
if you are not consciously working towards being more empathetic as a leader, as a business operator, and also as a as a person, then it's going to be very difficult for you to navigate through this new normal. What are practical things, right? What are practical things that I think can be done, which we've seen because of this pandemic? Oh, okay, it can be done. Number one, increase in communication, because before it's very easy to have side chats.
Yeah,
The
small
leader
conversation. Yeah.
can walk around the floor, can it's very easy. Now we have to find a different way to communicate and use technology to do
Hmm.
that, right? Um, uh, and part of that also is allowing, not just allowing, but encouraging team members to think of ways on how to better communicate towards one another, because many companies you would usually have a communication platform. It
Right.
could be MS Teams, it could be Zoom, it could be Google. There are so many platforms out there. How can the organization use it creatively so that you can increase communication, not just formal communication, top down, but also informal communications, right?
Hmm.
Also for peer to peer. And for example, in my organization, we allowed employees or the different sites, different geographies, to find out how to use the communication platform based on how it can be relevant to them. So there are some locations where they created, because we use Teams, they created what they call online cafe.
Hmm.
And that online cafe group is always open. Doesn't matter if there's someone in there or someone pops in, because they wanted to simulate what it's like to have a cafeteria where sometimes you
Pantry.
want to
Yeah.
take a break, you want to take a breather, and you just want to go to the cafeteria, and it's in the cafeteria that you chit chat.
Hmm.
And then now they liked it so much because they could chit chat with people all over the world, depending on the time of day, that they want to now keep that, right? So that's one example. Another practical example is the leaders allowing themselves to be a little bit vulnerable by sharing how they're struggling too. So Nietzsche gave a really good example a while ago, that as the leader, you're not expected to be perfect. Remember, we are human. We're human
Yeah.
first. So be I'm not, and I'm talking about vulnerability in the sense that you're being emotional. No, I'm talking about vulnerability in the sense that you are telling people, or you are showing to people that you also struggle. You know what, it's not, you're not alone. That is the message, that is the underlying message you're giving to your team members.
Hmm.
You're not alone, we're in this together. So it again bridges that connection, right? It builds that connection, it shows empathy. So those are just some examples. There's another practical example that I don't know if your company would have this, but there are also actually very good platforms out there that would allow that level of communication,
Yeah.
not necessarily communication, but in some organizations, it's called the EAP, or Employee Assistance Program.
Yeah.
Which could be online, which could be over the phone.
Over.
So your employees have the ability to call someone or to chat with a professional, or sometimes it could be an app that would just be a self-help app.
Yeah.
We are all different, and that's part of empathy, right? Your employees, some of them would be comfortable talking to an actual professional about what they're feeling, whether it's
Yeah.
personal or their jobs. Some people, they'd rather read or they want to do self-help. So if you have an ability to get a platform or an app, I know Betterteem does this, or you have, this one of your features
Yeah.
or one of your services, but it can be a really excellent cost-effective tool, because you know what, as leaders, yes, we have a responsibility, but we cannot touch all of them,
That's right.
unfortunately, because we're also human, right? There's only 24 hours of the day. And if you have those types of practical tools out there for your employees, it increases that positive environment of showing empathy, and providing tools for managers and employees.
I love that. I'm a huge fan of technology. You see, when we develop Betterteem, the vision that I have in my mind is that their technology can be integrated to human resources in understanding our employees further. That's why there are some features in our application that would really touch on that. Because truth be told, empathy is not just about acknowledging that person. It's not just about also demonstrating care and concern. It's more than that. On a leadership, I'm thinking, aside from exercising all of those things, you need to have some sort of data that would really, educate you as to what are the things that you have to work on, things that you would have to maybe focus on and at the same time improve. So that's why I'm glad that you mentioned something around, integrating technology in, improving empathy and at the same time, getting people involved in the overall efforts in making that improvement in the workplace. So on that note, I'm very conscious of the time. I want to close. Um, Tonichi and Joyce made evident to us that leadership and HR professionals are more aware that empathy has the power to be a key driver of high performance in the workplace. As leaders, our role is simple: deal empathetically with our team and watch them build a solid organization. And this can be driven by the use of tools that empower organizations to understand employee perceptions of empathy, provide actionable insights to drive change, and track trends over time. When talking about empathy today, I am reminded of the famous quote from Theodore Roosevelt. He said, "Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care." This is a truth that has long stood the test of time, and it is true for our relationships, may it be in and out of the workplace. And that being said, I wanted to thank you, Tunichi and Joyce, for joining us today. Thank you all so much for sharing your insights, and to all of our viewers as well. We will see you in our next conversation.
Thank you, Bo.
Thank you for having us, Bo.
Thank you.
This is Brittany. She's been tasked with producing the company's next big event, happening in just a few weeks. The event technology options are seemingly endless. Until she found the perfect platform to engage and delight attendees. This is Excel Events, a virtual and hybrid events platform that has all of your must-have features in one place. From connecting attendees to brand exhibitors, seamless networking functionality, and custom ticketing options, you can manage the event ecosystem all from one place. Stream your live videos right on the platform, or integrate your favorite streaming provider so speakers can focus on delivering their message, while event managers are confident about delivering their run of show. Attendees can have direct access to speakers using built-in chat features. They can have one-on-one sessions with speakers or other attendees to create an intimate networking setting. Attendees are able to connect to multiple live sessions without ever leaving the platform. Create better events with flexible agendas. Native live streaming. In-depth analytics. Lead gen management. Multiple concurrent session functionality. Integration with popular software solutions. Learn more about Excel Events by visiting excelevents.com. Try it for free today and change the way you see events.
Your customers have bills to pay, essentials to buy, and services to hire. Make it secure, reliable, and hassle-free for them with PayMaya. PayMaya's payment solutions have you covered because now you can accept all kinds of cashless payments any way you do business, whether it's in-store, delivery, via mobile app, on your website, or even without a website. Plus, you can monitor your business growth on a single dashboard.
Nandoon ka at my lowest. Nung isa-isa na wala mga customers ko. Nung akala ko, pasara na shop ko. You gave me hope when all seemed dark and when I was lost. You encouraged me to look beyond, to go beyond, to focus on my family, friends, and blessings despite it all. Lahat yun, naitawid ko kasi nandyan ka sa tabi ko, nagpapaalala na kaya ko. So ngayon dahil sa'yo, mas matapang na ako to face any challenge. Now I realize what matters most. So thank you. Thank you for being there for me through everything. Nagbago man ang mundo, alam ko, kaya ko na harapin ang araw-araw na walang takot. Kasi you are just right by my side. And I can always count on you. Kaya salamat, ikaw talaga ang BFF ko.
Filipinos have struggled with the most essential facets of life, like health, education, livelihood, managing finances, and many more. Our country needs all the help it can get to manage its burden.
We want to maximize digital technology to provide solutions for real customer pain points. This is how 917 Ventures came to life.
The Philippines' largest corporate venture builder. We ideate, launch, accelerate, and scale new business ideas that have the potential to grow fast. Through our portfolio companies, we empower consumers and businesses to power through and emerge stronger every day, pandemic or not.
Our vision at GCash is finance for all.
Beyond financial services, GCash has become a super live app with over 51 million registered users.
Consulta MD is the largest telehealth company in the Philippines with over 1 million users.
Health Now is an integrator platform that brings health and care to every Filipino in one tap at the comfort of your homes.
With these healthcare solutions, Filipinos now have access to doctors 24/7 and get their medicines delivered on the same day.
And as we all strive to search for safer ways to go about our days, we understand how customers are starting to rely on online grocery shopping for their daily essentials. This is where PureGo comes in.
PureGo has become one of Metro Manila's top-of-mind grocery delivery services, with its best-priced grocery items from trusted brands.
Sparking a difference on ad tech, digital media, and creatives that helps brands create more meaningful connections with their customers by leveraging data and prioritizing the power of insights.
We at Rush offer an out-of-the-box solution that helps businesses start their digital transformation in the most cost-effective manner.
Rush and AdSpark's marketing, loyalty programs, and e-commerce solutions help future-proof businesses, prepare them for the surge of online shopping and transactions, and find their footing in the digital world. 917 Ventures continues to offer innovative solutions with the addition of 2 more portfolio companies. Enkiro, with its suite of artificial intelligence-powered products, and M360 with its multi-channel communication services. Our secret? We innovate for the people, not the prestige. We ideate opportunities, launch solutions, accelerate lives.
We are committed to build more ventures to further accelerate the country's digital transformation.
The future is now. The future is us. We are 917 Ventures.
Multisys Technologies Corporation is your one-stop system provider. We do advanced systems research and development, focus on evolving assets of IT systems, platforms, and software solutions. We show integrated set of programs and solutions that drive businesses nowadays. Backed by our R&D team, we are able to customize solutions according to your business requirements with speed, accuracy, and efficiency. In our efforts to help Filipinos' way of life through digital innovations and transformation, we partnered with IT companies, system contractors, government agencies, big conglomerates, small and medium enterprises, and tech startups as well. We go above and beyond partnerships. It's a teamwork, and we make sure that your business and ours grow together. We find success in every collaboration and establish meaningful connections. That's why we want to partner with you. Here at Multisys, we empower your business. Multisys is a one-stop software company. So instead of you talking to too many integrators, you'll be able to come up with a centralized and automated way of doing things. We have a team that really move like one. So they are really united. So instead of one programmer, one system approach, I think multiple programmers joining force together, they can collaborate easily. We have speed, we have accuracy, we have efficiency. I think that's the secret of the group. That's why companies love to work with us. It will be faster for them. It will be more efficient to develop and deploy a certain system. They are a designer, they are a coder or programmer, they are a systems analyst, they are a quality control expert, and they're a UI and UX expert as well. That skill is not easy to really somehow have in one programmer. Multisys can really customize the system. We can customize it according to their needs, design for their own and existing process flows. We're all racing against the clock. Priority of Multisys is to elevate the lifestyle of every Filipino by delivering automated, integrated systems to make sure that we can fast-track the operation, processes. I think it's all about how fast can you deliver a certain technology. Speed matters nowadays. Sabi nga sa Tagalog, diba, daig ng maagap ang masipag. That's why we develop futuristic systems. What we do is that we predict the future, we develop, and then the moment that we are partnered with a certain entity, we're able to show them a live system. It's not a PowerPoint presentation. It will be a prototype, it will be a working system. So this will give them an idea how to solve a problem. This will give them an idea to expedite their processes. So not only showing them a vision, but showing them a solution already. We develop end-to-end solutions for 8 industries now. And we would like to automate other industries as well. Currently, we have an end-to-end solution for information technology businesses. okay, ERPs. We have e-government solutions, healthcare, an end-to-end solution for utility, whether you are an electric company, a water utility company, a telco, or a cable utility company. We do also retail, hospitality, academe, and of course, the new one is the banking and finance. Here at Multisys, we empower your business.
There's a reason why for the last 13 years, startups overwhelmingly prefer to build on top of AWS. We have the largest number of services, making it easy for you to take on some of the biggest challenges with the smallest teams. We also have partnerships with the top VCs, accelerators, and incubators around the world, making it easier to secure your next round of funding.
I'm a solution architect with the AWS Head Start program. What we do is we work with startups in the education sector, and we help them build their services on AWS.
So We Power Tech is AWS's Diversity and Inclusion Outreach program. The program is really twofold. One is to increase the number of underrepresented technologists within the industry, and the second is to provide a platform for them to be seen and heard.
If you're wondering how the AWS evangelism team might be able to help your startup, there are many ways. We're technically credible across our entire catalog of products, so we can help you figure out which services might be able to meaningfully impact your business. We also want to help tell your story. So if you're building something cool, we want to know about it and help spread that message to the world. So you might end up on stage at an event like AWS Summit. If you're a startup, you should also definitely check out the AWS Lofts. These are event spaces that are free to anyone with an AWS account. And you can treat them like co-working spaces, but the awesome thing about them is that we also have people like technical evangelists like myself, solutions architects that come and give hands-on technical workshops and sessions to help you learn how to more effectively utilize the AWS products and platforms that you're already building on top of.
We are a dedicated team of people that love startups, that we just want to come and help you with whatever we can, whether it be technical or business focused. We are here to help guide you and make sure that you do have a say in what's going on. We do get your feedback. We do bring that feedback to the service teams. That is what we're here for.
And one of my big dreams is to be part of creating 10 million meaningful careers here in the Philippines in the next 30 years. How do we get there? I believe it's gonna take a big shift in our culture and mindset, plus an acceleration of the growth of our local ecosystem to give more Filipinos the freedom to grow and flourish as entrepreneurs, and more specifically to grow as whole life leaders who will have the character, community, and the competency to solve seemingly impossible problems here in the Philippines with ventures that are going to transform culture and communities all around the globe in our lifetime.
My name is John Aguilar, and I'm a serial entrepreneur based in Manila, Philippines. I've gathered a formidable cast of business and industry leaders looking to fund and support the country's post-pandemic solutions. Dennis Anthony Uy, co-founder and CEO of Converge ICT Solutions. David Almirol Jr., founder and CEO of Multisys Technologies. Rose Ong, Senior Executive Vice President and COO of Wilcon Depot. Bernard D., Visionary Mayor of Kawayan City, Isabela. And Jay Villarante, Chairman and CEO of 8 Ventures. Our goal is to find and support the new breed of heroes taking on the challenges of a post-pandemic future. Many will try, but only a few will make it to the final pitch.
We know it's not always easy finding passion and purpose. We know sometimes you can feel more overwhelmed than inspired. But we also know that connecting people to jobs that matter really matters to you. And that's why we're here for you. We know you need top talent to build your business, so we connect you to more than 33 million eager job seekers across the region. And we know strong relationships are essential. We speak your language.
Hello, JobStreet. สวัสดีค่ะ. Hello, JobStreet.
And provide experienced local support. we also know you want powerful data and insights to empower you and make you look smart in front of your boss. We know while hiring is never simple, our innovations and products make it easier. From delivering better value for your investment to standing out from the crowd. We've got you covered. And we know you like results. We're 2 times more successful at placing talent with employers. How do we know all this? We're your hiring expert and the #1 trusted talent partner in Asia. Start hiring with us now. We know you want to.
Here at Open Space Ventures, we believe in investing with active intelligence. We have a singular focus on Southeast Asia, and we invest in tech companies across all the different sectors. The strategy is executed by our diverse and deep regional team, as well as our active operations team. And by harnessing active intelligence, we have worked with our portfolio companies to realize bolder visions and accelerate their progress in a responsible and sustainable way. We find, build, and back game-changing companies, and that's the Open Space way.
If your business isn't online, you need to catch up and fast. PayMongo helps you accept online payments from credit cards and e-wallets, whether you're selling on social media or through your own website or app. Get started with no upfront costs. Sign up for free today. If your business isn't online, you need to catch up and fast. PayMongo helps you accept online payments from credit cards and e-wallets, whether you're selling on social media or through your own website or app. Get started with no upfront costs. Sign up for free today.
Calling all small business owners, meet Communicart, a Rappler-led initiative where small businesses can advertise on Rappler's platforms at affordable rates. Get featured on our socials, or through a listicle. How about an article? Let Rappler's discerning audience know about your business. Email us at communicart@rappler.com for more information.
UBX's goal is to make banking invisible by using cutting-edge technology and data to make financial services seamlessly integrated into the moments that matter for people. By digitizing financial institutions and their back-office systems to make processes more efficient. By equipping entrepreneurs with the proper tools to run their businesses and empowering them to participate in the global economy. And by leveraging on years of experience in banking and finance, logistics, real estate, and tech services. It is our mission to build safer, faster, and more customer-centric fintech solutions for a more financially inclusive tomorrow. Because at UBX, we include everyone.
QBO? QBO?
It actually just stands for Kubo, as in the Bahay Kubo. And yes, we do have our very own Bahay Kubo in our office.
Just like the Bahay Kubo, we stand for Bayanihan or teamwork.
QBO is a place where the community can come together to help ideas flourish, showcase Filipino innovation, and build great companies.
Filipino startups changing the world. That's our vision. We believe in building a globally competitive startup ecosystem right here in the Philippines. I mean, it's about time, isn't it?
But how do we do it? Let's ask QBO President.
QBO is the country's first venture at a physical space to help the startup ecosystem. It's a public-private sector partnership between JP Morgan Chase Foundation, Ideaspace Foundation, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the Department of Science and Technology.
Wait. Did you say public sector? The government? In the Philippines?
Yeah, and they're very supportive. We're proud to have them as a partner. We hope to inspire Filipinos to come and join and be part of this ecosystem. And we want to bring their dreams to reality. In the end, it's going to help themselves, it's going to help their employees, it will help this country.
What do we actually do?
Well, we do this, 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 and this. Woo, seriously? That was so tiring.
But you're missing one more thing. You also do this, the JP Morgan Incubation Program. QBO picks the top startups from all over the Philippines to be part of the incubation program, where they will receive dedicated mentorship, advanced professional services, curated workshops, and assistance to exiting. External party involvements include government agencies, the Philippine Stock Exchange, and major investors. There's a potential for global exposure as well. Wow, we do a lot, don't we?
Yes, it's actually as simple as encourage collaboration, develop the community, and provide incubation. Oh gosh, we're so culit!
So, if you are interested to join our events or be part of any of our programs catered to startup development, all you have to do is
sign up!
Sign up!
Sign up!
Sign up!
Sign up!
And together,
let's build
the Philippine
Startup Community!
A lot of opportunity.
Slowly but surely.
Potential.
Diversifying.
Perfect digital storm.
energetic.
It's young and dynamic. Very promising. Exciting with an exclamation point.
Exponential.
I've heard from one of the leading partners of Golden Gate Ventures. He said that he has seen more investable startups in the last 6 months than in the last 4 years.
You see more startups today than ever before here.
There are a lot of resources available that weren't available when we started.
When we say government, we're actually talking about DOST, the Department of Trade and Industry, the Commission on Higher Education, CHED, and the other government agencies working together to make sure that our startup ecosystem will actually succeed. We have 2 programs under this year. The first one is called I2Tech. This is for startups with early-stage prototypes. We give them assistance in product improvement, market testing, data gathering, business modeling, etc. The second is iScale, provides assistance in scaling up operations, testing of products for certification, rolling out of services. Then we also provide funds for our startups. For now, we have invested 61 million in 15 technology-based startup companies. Basically, after they do the research, they go to the Technology Business Incubator or TBI so that they will get the support needed for any startup. The QBO Innovation Hub today signals the country's first venture directed to facilitate the growth of startups and entrepreneurs.
Well, QBO in a nutshell is the Philippines' first attempt at joining the world's startup ecosystem.
QBO has been one of the centers of networking and community building in startups in the Philippines.
We offer a whole range of services to help startups grow. These include everything from classes and networking events and workshops and consultations, really all for free because we want to help startups succeed.
QBO provided a whole range of things, like printers that we can use to print our document, up to conference rooms that we can use to meet our customers and to meet our investors.
Government provides the resources so that we can help them out with the things that they're not experts in.
QBO has helped me a lot. Having a community and a place where I can come and join programs that I can learn from.
Well, QBO would not exist without the government.
That's why we partnered with DOST in this new type of program that brings together the government and the academe with the private sector to make ideas come to reality.
We believe that the young people of QBO will actually help us encourage young Filipinos to venture and start their companies locally. This is one of the goals of DOST, to create a robust entrepreneurial environment.
The Philippines has a very bright future ahead of it in terms of tech startups. The big opportunity will come from the local conglomerates, local corporations, understanding the benefit to them.
The e-commerce market in the Philippines is about $500 million in value. They're saying in the next 10 years that it could be worth $10 to $20 billion.
And that's a vision of a country full of young startups which have become large companies and employ huge numbers of Filipinos.
It's a very exciting time to be an investor in the Philippines.
Hello guys, my name is Ace Gapuz and I'm the founder of local startup Blogapalooza. Today I will be your key respondent and I wanted to talk to you guys about startups. A lot of interest about startup recently, especially with all the conversations around blockchain, cryptocurrency, sharing economy, and all these other cryptic buzzwords. But what the heck is a startup and how is it different from a regular business? Today, I went out on the streets to do a little investigating and ask random strangers about their thoughts on startups. Tara! Hi friend! Meron ka bang idea about startups?
Di ba organization?
Organization daw. Hello! Meron ka bang idea about startups?
Startups, hindi ba yun yung parang business na nagsa-start pa lang, kaya startup, di ba?
In fairness, startup, starting business. Hello! Meron ka bang idea about startups?
Wait lang. Yung ba yung parang mga tech companies na gano'n? Yung mga katulad ng Facebook or mga kung ano pa? Hindi ko talaga.
Iba talaga sumagot ang bagets. Laging may case study. In fairness, ha? Unfortunately, marami pa rin talagang misconceptions about startups. To summarize, a startup is a business that looks into an old problem and solves it in a new way. And because the solution is new, it needs to be tested. First, involves technology, an app, a website, software, or hardware. Second, it is scalable. It is able to be reproduced at a very fast rate. Third, it challenges the norm and probably would change the way that we live life and do things.
Cleaning Lady is a startup that provides professional, caring, and warm cleaning services to condominium dwellers. So what we do is we empower women from underprivileged communities to be part of Cleaning Lady. So we have them trained under a TESDA certified agency, and then we deploy them to our clients.
So we started this journey back in 2016, pero actually friends kami ni Fran back in college.
During the first few months of our operations, we just started with just a Facebook page, and then eventually, tsaka kami nagkaroon ng website. Actually, kaya namin tinayo yung Cleaning Lady is because we really want to empower women, especially yung mothers who are from underprivileged communities.
Chatbot PH is the biggest and the first chatbot development agency in the Philippines. Because it's like, what we do is we create chatbots for businesses, whether they're enterprise or they're an SME. So what we did really to start out the whole process was when we created a prototype, not using any tech, because we didn't know how to make any chatbots at the same time. What we did was we created a presentation using Canva in order to get that done, and then we validated by pitching it to brands. For our first year, really, we didn't spend any money on marketing. And somehow, some way, people just found us. QBO was a big boon for us because it just allowed us to work at a lot of what we do without needing to pay anything. And we're surrounded with like-minded individuals and the right ecosystem, the support that open up just so many doors for us.
Antipara Exploration is an automated underwater mapping and analysis service. We help our clients understand and map out their underwater assets. We use cameras and sonar to scan and create 3D underwater maps. These underwater maps can be used by our clients to count, let's say, how many clams that they have in their sea ranch, or to monitor coral bleaching and other diseases underwater. We started out as a research group, and we were very focused with our technology. But during our startup journey, we realized that it's not about the high-tech solutions. It's more about helping our clients by solving the problem, even if it means using the most basic of things.
O diba, startups are not just all about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Siyempre, hirap intindihin ng mga yon, diba?
Ain't nobody got time for that!
In fact, some of the most amazing startups come from simple beginnings. But with the government really supporting the local startup scene now, in fact, there are places like QBO that incubates startups. There's also DOST that grants funding to the most promising founders and their ideas. Hindi na ganun kahirap mag-start ng startup. You can actually do it. If you're really interested in learning how to move your ideas forward, you can go to QBO's Basics Workshop. In the meantime, I encourage you all to think about how you can change the world with your good ideas.
Okay, are we okay?
Balita ka daw ah. Dami ko ng...
Ang Cambio before, isang idea lang siya talaga. Isang idea na lagi lang iniisip, hindi nagagawa. Nandoon kami sa stage na hindi namin to alam kung paano umpisahan.
I wasn't even sure if I had the capability of launching a business or transforming that idea into a real company.
We didn't really have a very clear sense of our vision and our identity as a company and as a brand.
Idea Space was able to make us rethink of where we should be in this space, whether it's technology or as a social enterprise.
With the help of our mentors, they helped us focus on our strengths, on our core strengths. We listen to their advice and we try to follow their guidance. And now nakikita namin yung fruits nun because it's easier for us to onboard new clients and it's easier for us to serve them also.
I learned how to lead people, how to properly engage with different levels of individuals, and how to look at the business in terms of numbers.
As an individual, I feel like I've grown so much. Before, I was just very operations-driven, but now I see myself as a visionary looking at other opportunities for all of our customers. And I think that brings me so much joy when I sleep at night.
The fact that the PLDT group supported us, it actually helped boost my confidence.
After Idea Space, we were introduced still to a lot of other would-be clients. More particularly, right now, we're doing our product development with Meralco and Paymaya. These are one of our key products that we think that has really great potential.
On top of these 30 paying private schools, we have around 100 public schools who are enjoying the benefits of Front Learners e-learning. Partners namin ang Department of Science and Technology, Teach for the Philippines, and then also mga CSR na mga companies like Huawei, like Samsung, and Smart. They have education advocacies.
We have engaged heavily, or at least engaged with Smart and Voyager. So for Voyager, we have been dealing with them particularly with PayMaya, since PayMaya is a distribution channel that we can use. And another one is with Smart and Smart PLDT Foundation. So actually right now we are in the process of them sponsoring us also with various tools like tablets for us to fully implement our paperless system on the ground.
Without IdeaSpace and without your support, TimeFree wouldn't be here.
Manila, the Philippines, Southeast Asia needs programs like IdeaSpace, and more startups need this kind of support.
Huwag kayong titigil. Mas kailangan kayo ng bansa natin ngayon. Marami pang mas deserving kaysa sa amin.
Without you, we won't be where we are today, and we won't be wherever we'll be in the future. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.
One of the realizations that I have is that being a startup founder is really hard, but it's also more fulfilling. Even if it's harder, I actually am enjoying the entrepreneurial life that I have now. We had a need before and we created something. And to have that something appreciated and used by other companies, you know, that's really very fulfilling for me.
The greatest lesson for me is to not be afraid to fail. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who had great ideas, but then again, it's either they're scared to fail or the moment they fail once, they give up. Because at the end of the day, it is only through failure that you will learn lessons to make you better. I'm Chino Atilano, and the big idea is a virtual queuing solution.